you to the second part of lead generating. This is our roundtable discussion, and as we talked before, this is where we bring 4, 5, 6 of our top producing agents that all lead generate different ways, and they are absolutely generous enough to share with you exactly how they do that, where their leads come from. It's particularly helpful for new agents when you're just starting out, because there's lots of different ways that you can get leads. They're going to share with you what works, what hasn't worked in the past, and a little bit about each of themselves. So I'm internally grateful every time they show up to do this. So first of all, lead generation, that is your true job as a realtor. Everybody thought you were going to show houses and write contracts. You're truly lead generators. That's what you're going to do the most of the time. It's ongoing. It's never ending. And if I could tell you any little tip, consistency is the key to avoid those peaks and valleys in your career. There's lots of different ways realtors generate. You can pick one. You can pick several. Whatever you do, just pick what works for you and just do it. Do it consistently, and that will be the key to your real estate career. So we're going to start out with Miss Bridget. Bridget Brown. I'm going to ask you some questions, Bridget, and then I'll let you talk a little bit about how you lead generate. So introduce yourself.
So I'm Bridget Brown. I'm actually Bridget Kiggins, but around here I'm still Bridget Brown. I kept my old name. But I've been in business since '07, and I started Keller Williams. I was there for 2 years and realized I was leaving a lot of money on the table over there. Came over here in '09, and I kind of focused my business out in Western Shawnee. I go all over. I just got my Missouri license last year, but I do almost all my business in like 2 zip codes in Western Shawnee, kind of like it. I just love it. It's fun. I can't imagine doing anything else.
Did you come from another industry when you started?
No, I was at home with my kids for 10 years.
Okay.
But prior to that, had always been in some form of outside sales.
Okay.
But,
so if you don't mind, share with the group kind of how you generate leads, where your leads come from. Most of them, I know you probably do a couple different things.
Yeah, I do a lot of different things, but I do love open houses. And when I first started my business, that was one of the ways that I was told to really kick things off was start doing open houses. I'm like, well, I don't have any listings. How am I going to do that? So they said, well, do some for other agents, because when you've got agents that have multiple, 6 or 7 or 10 listings, and of course all their clients want an open house every weekend, you can't be at 6 homes on a Sunday. So I started doing open houses for other agents that needed help, and really started kicking off, because you really do get buyers. It's awesome to pick up buyers at open house, but it's also awesome for your sellers too, because they get a lot of extra exposure on their home that week that it's going to be open, if you market it right and everything. But it's an awesome way to pick up buyers, because half those buyers that come through those open houses, they aren't going to have any agents, and so it's your opportunity to shine and make them love you and make them want to use you when they buy their next house, whether it be that one that they're there at, meeting you at the open house, or the other one down the street that's going to be on the market next week. So
You do an open house every weekend, don't you?
I haven't the last couple weekends. I usually will have one open at least every Sunday, but sometimes I'll have another agent do it if I can. I'm out of town or something.
Is there a key to doing the open house as well, to generate leads for yourself?
Well, start early in the week marketing it. In other words, like if you know you're going to have one the next Sunday, then you're going to start on Monday putting up open Sunday signs everywhere you can possibly put them, meaning like in every corner on the way into the neighborhood to get to that house, put a sign up wherever you can get one. Put it on MLS as being open on that Sunday, the time. That's probably really the first thing you need to do is put it on MLS, because once you put it in MLS that it's going to be open, then it's going to generate to Reese Nichols and all the other websites out there, the consumer sites. So if a buyer is looking for open houses on Reese Nichols, yours is going to show up, on Wednesday, that it's going to be open Sunday, so they're going to be keeping their eyes out for it. And then also I put it on Zillow, which is also now Trulia, and Realtor.com. We advertise it on all those sites as well. So it generates a lot of activity for the whole week.
Does it have to be your house? I mean, you as a seller's agent, or you can go and find any home, and like if I have a house in my neighborhood, can I go and do an open house on that?
Well, if it's with our company.
You can actually do other companies too, I believe. I don't
You
think
have.
there's any
I
reason
have.
why you can't do another
Yeah, have you
company.
really?
It's usually good to have the listing agent's permission.
Yeah.
So you,
And
Just looking for
the,
the
and the
afternoon,
seller
show
would
up.
be good. But other than that,
But
That's
the the listing agent, though, is the only one that can input it in MLS and all those other places online.
So they have to agree to let you do that.
Yeah.
A lot of agents from other companies would rather throw that business towards somebody in their own company, I would think.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that's always the case. But if you had something in your neighborhood, you can look up what's listed by a realty executives agent anywhere over town, and you can call them, and I know Bridget has other agents set on her stuff all the time too.
and me being ignorant, since I'm with real executives, do we have a list of homes that we have that we can?
We've been doing that for agents that need someone.
Some we do, but the easiest way to do that is just go on MLS, do an advanced search, and down at the bottom where it says office, put in your realty executive's office, and it will pull up all the active listings that are listed by realty executives agents. That's the easiest way to get the whole list. Okay.
Or you can put the ones in your neighborhood area.
Right.
If you want to be more specific.
So when you put it in MLS, does it automatically go into Zillow and Trullo for open houses, or do you have to go to each one of those sites and put it in, and do you have to pay so much a month for each one of those sites?
That's a good question.
I think it automatically uploads
Now it feeds.
doesn't it?
Now
Yeah.
that they
Feeds
have,
automatically?
yeah,
It didn't used to.
From where?
it didn't.
From
From
to
MLS.
go from MLS to Zillow or Trullo or whoever, so it will feed, okay.
So we don't have to pay them?
you never had to pay extra for Zillow or Trilio. If you have listings, you can have, you can be on them. They pay extra for leads and putting you up on the, what do you call it? We'll get to that part.
The premier agent status and all that. Yeah.
There's also a handout that's in your, that I gave you to add to your book. That's one of our newer agents put together. It's an open house checklist. And she got it from stuff Bridget said to do, basically, you know, what to do, how many days advance to prepare, to get your pointer signers out and all that kind of stuff. So there's a really good checklist for you to use when you're doing an open house too.
I have another question. Do you have any problems with your associations in your neighborhoods putting up the signs as fast as you do on Monday? Because I try to do it on Friday, and hopefully they're doing something else over the weekend and they won't make me remove it.
Yeah, there's a few that are fussy about it, but it's rare.
Okay, good.
Certain cities also have restrictions, like Lenexa won't let you put any pointer signs up. You can do it on a weekend, basically. They may not take it, but
Right, 'cause
during the
they're
week,
not working.
it's gone.
Overland Park too takes it away.
They do. So it
So put
depends.
it Friday night and then pick it up Sunday night.
Yeah, Independence filter all the way.
Okay.
Gladstone, the same.
Okay, and I happen to, any other questions about open houses from Bridget?
How many should you have on the same property?
Till it sells.
Yeah, until it's almost had open every weekend.
And then if it was a really good property, keep having them after it sells. You might be able to get another buyer. This one's sold, but I'll have another one.
I sent a buyer, I was out of town this weekend, and I sent a buyer to an open house. It was a house that she wanted to see, and I said, well, I'm out of town, so I can't show it to you, but they're having an open house, but it was already sold. And I said, well,
Yeah, that's kind of crappy.
yeah,
That's kind of a crappy thing to do.
All right, so I was holding it open. I had nothing else to do.
Yeah.
I do have another question. So when you have an open house, do you greet everyone at the door, or are you aggressive, or you just say who you are, you walk them around, do you just give them something?
kind of
All of them?
all the above except the aggressive part. I'm just kind of, I'll very nicely introduce myself, but I do start asking them a lot of open-ended questions about where they live now, whether they rent or own, or what their status is on looking for a house, if they're already working with a buyer's agent or not. I have a lot of questions like that.
And do you have them sign a book?
Yeah, I have a sign-in book, and I'm so embarrassed, I didn't bring it with me. Over at the MLS office, they have a book that you can buy that's like $13, I think. And it's really pretty. It says Open House Registry, and you open it up, and it's got 2 on each page where they can sign in, and it takes all of their information on there. It's just kind of old school sign in with a pen, but usually everybody will do it. But they'll put their email down there, and it says, are you currently working with an agent, yes or no? Are you pre-approved for a mortgage, yes or no? Stuff like that. So, and sometimes they don't fill out that part, but if you can at least get their email and their name, address, phone number and all that, you can at least follow up with them after that, which is the biggest part of this, really. The most important part is when you do capture those buyers that aren't already working with agents, what I do is I take all those emails and their information, and I go back home to my computer and I set them up on a search. So I will have found out what they're looking for, where they're looking for it, and all the criteria that they want. And so I set up a little search for them, so that every time one comes up that they might like, they're gonna get an immediate email from me with my picture and my contact information, and then it'll spur them on to use me when they do see one that comes up. They'll go, hey, we see one that we like, can we go see this, and all that. And I also, if they have a house to sell, I'll also set them up on an automatic search. Oh,
How
thank
did she
you.
know that?
Yeah, how did she
She
know
sent her text.
How did you know that?
She's psychic.
She was just
Psychotic.
talking about it.
That's, so here's what it looks like. See how pretty it is? And KCRIR. Now this one's a little bit more than the $13. The $13 one is like a spiral notebook form, but this one has the one where you can replace the pages. But see, it gives them a whole section to fill in, and it looks really nice. And then it comes with this card that you put up on it that says, I like this side, visitors please register.
Yes.
And we just set that right on top of it. But the other thing I do is if they do have a home to sell, I set them up on an additional search of their own neighborhood where they are now, so that they can keep track of what's going on in that neighborhood too. So when, Susie down the street, 2 doors down from them, puts her house on the market, they can see the pictures, they can see what she's got it listed for and all that. And then when one sells, they can see that. So that way, they're getting 2 emails from me all the time. One for what they're looking for and one for their neighborhood that they're selling.
Just kind of that forefront of mind that we talked about last week, you know what I mean? So when somebody's ready to do something, we're just gonna stick in their head.
And you ask them for permission, right? I mean, to do that, right?
No,
Oh, you just do it?
no, I get their email, but they know if they put their email down, I'm gonna be emailed.
If they don't want it, they can
Yeah, they can opt
Yeah.
out, right.
opt out,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Now, and just to give you a perfect example of why I do this, I had, most recently, probably the best example I have of this is I was doing a house in Western Shawnee. I was doing an open house, and I had this couple come through, super nice. They wanted to move from Prairie Village out to Western Shawnee. And so I did both of those things that I was just talking about, set them up on a search on the Prairie Village house, and then one for what they were looking for in Shawnee. And I was following up with them after that, and pretty soon they called me back one day and said, okay, we're finally ready to sell. So I get over there, we list their house in Prairie Village, we sold it first day on the market for $11,000 over what we had it listed for, and then they bought one for $280,000 in Shawnee. So, and I didn't know them from Adam when they walked in the door at my open house. But they were just a sweet little couple, and I was asking them all those questions I was just saying, set them up on the 2 searches, and
It works.
so.
Can I ask, how many open houses do you do in a month?
Me personally, I'll usually do at least 2 a month myself, and sometimes
And how many
3.
do you sell? From your,
Well, last year
In a year,
total,
yeah.
my total that I sold from listings and buyers was 49. So,
and this was from just open houses?
Open,
And referrals and stuff like that?
open houses don't normally sell houses. Is that fair to say?
1% only sell it.
Yeah. The secret is that people don't do open houses to sell those houses. Normally sellers think you are going to, so that's why they request them. And it's more exposure and it's good for the seller, but normally that's where realtors generate leads from.
It's called lead generation.
It really is. There are very few people that walk in an open house and say, I gotta have it.
yeah.
Is that
In
true?
this market's a little different because
This market's
they're
a little
going so
weird.
fast.
Yeah.
And there aren't that many more open houses to do because we're selling them before you can get them open. That's part of
I'm
the
just saying
problem
that,
too.
people walking in, you get the information and you sell them something else. I mean, so what you find out is that these are people that are interested in buying.
If they're not represented by another agent.
That was my first sale.
Was it open house?
Capture,
It's the quickest way to get your first sale. It really is by saying on open houses. Is the absolute
Actually, a relative is a little bit easier if you know somebody wants to already buy or sell out.
Okay, so I got two more questions for you, Bridget. What would you have, if you knew then what you know now, what would you have changed about your career? What would you have done differently? Anything?
I would have set up my database and gotten all that organized right up front.
There you go. So that would be your tip,
And had a plan, you know,
how you're
what
gonna
I was
follow up
gonna
with
do
people
with
and
my
that kind of
database.
stuff.
Yeah, once a week and all that, yeah.
Any other questions for Bridget? No? Thank you, Miss Bridget.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephanie Heifetz is from the Northland office. Stephanie, you've been in the business how long?
Just 3 years. Just
So-
started my 3rd year.
So fairly?
Halfway through my 3rd.
And are you comfortable sharing how many houses you sold last year?
30.
Awesome.
Okay. So it can be done. Stephanie does a lot of different lead generating, but I specifically asked her to come and talk about paid leads, like Zillow leads, things like that. I'm sure you guys are hearing a bit about that, and she's had experience in a lot of it. And she also gave you a handout and stuff she's going to talk about. So, Stephanie, you've been in there. Did you come from another industry?
Yes, I did. I came from a marketing product development background in giftware and food gifts, so kind of totally
Great,
unrelated.
great.
Did a lot of contract work, you know.
Great to come for closing gift ideas, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
You have closing. Okay, so how do you generate your leads now?
Like Bridget, I do open houses too, and I usually do them. And when I started, of course, I had no listings, so I just ask other agents, and those are great because you get people a year later that'll call you and they met you in an open house, and you're like, I don't remember them. I just pretend I do, and yeah, hope that I put them in my database, you know, and made some notes. But I started, and I still do a lot of different things, but I am kind of honing it in to a few, and I forgot my glasses at home, so I have my temporary ones, pardon me. And I did give you a handout. So an easy way for me to explain it is, my first year was 2014, and I started in December, so kind of a slow time to start. But in the first year, I had 11 closings, and those just kind of came from open houses, referrals. I come from a very small family of only children, so I don't have a lot of family folks to pull on. Then my second year, which was last year, I had 30, and I had like 13 listings, 17 buyers, and this is all on a sheet that I think you guys have in your book. So the one thing that I did that really did work was I signed up with Trulia my first year, and I spent roughly about $1,500 in that first. It was for 6 months, and in that 6 months time I got 75 leads, and I was able to get 9 closings out of that 75 leads. So I did the numbers, and that's like 39% return on your investment. So it worked. So that's something I stick with. I heard from other agents that realtor.com was a good place to get leads, and I actually now have been with them. My contract just ended yesterday with realtor.com. So today I re-upped for the same contract, and in a year with them I had 24 leads. So it's a lot fewer leads, but they're better leads. They're people that are typically more serious. Now granted, a third of those were, I mean, you know, you get the kooks, and they get on realtor.com too. I did have a lady, actually. I mean, the police are investigating her. She was trying to get into this high dollar condo, and everything was just really strange, you know, about the whole thing. But anyhow, and so out of those, I had a closing. I had one that was a condo, just because of where I live, and I picked a zip code there, and I keep getting a lot of condo leads, which is kind of another area. And but nobody could get financing, so anyhow, that deal fell apart. And then I've got 2 or 3 buyers that I'm working with now. So, but even just the one closing that I had was a nice one. It came in like December, which was really nice. So I actually, for the money that I spent, which wasn't very much, $978, I had a 50% return on my investment.
Which one?
On realtor.com. And it is a little, you have to, if you call them and talk to them, just tell them to slow down and say, I'm new, and make them explain how it works. And I finally today, and they'll change your person. Every time I turn around, somebody new is calling me, and it's somebody different that's, my person, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But you can buy a full share, which will guarantee you 48 leads in a year, or you can buy a half a share, and that's 24 leads. And then you can get those, they call it, you can get shared leads where it will go to like 2 agents, or you can pay almost twice the price and get leads that aren't shared. I always just get the shared leads because I'm cheap, but I'm fast. I can't tell you how many times I call somebody, it pops up, and I just dial them back. And if I'm busy, I say, hey, I got your information. I wanted to touch base with you and find out what's a good time when I can sit down and be in front of my computer and I can give you all the information.
Because tell them a little bit how the leads work. If somebody clicks on realtor.com, Trulio, Zillow,
Right.
that information goes to them and they send it out to whatever agent bought that zip code, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And like on Zillow, I've got Zillow running too. It goes to, I don't know how many agents, and they make it so complicated you can't quite figure it out. Realtor.com is a little neater and a little cleaner. You do get fewer leads, but I think they're better overall. And it's just a thing over time. You'll kind of see how the numbers.
And is the key
Stack up.
speed in getting back to them? Because the first person that gets back to them is the first person that gets them, basically?
Mm-hmm, definitely, yeah. But with Realtor.com, you've got a little more time because it's probably only you and another agent. So, and of course, when do they call you? Sunday night at 6:30, always, that's when they call you. So just tell your family, And I just say, oops, I'll be back in 10 minutes. And I call them and I say, hey, we were just sitting down, but I got your lead, wanted to let you know somebody got it. And then, spend 5 minutes and figure out a time to get back with them. And then sometimes the leads, there isn't much information. They're just going to send you a property and it says, I want more info on this. And I always ask them first thing, are they looking to rent or buy? Because once in a while a renter will slip through there, and then you've got to do something with that. And then a lot of times then I will ask them, well, can you do me a favor and just email me your criteria? And I just shoot them a quick email and then they'll tell me how many beds, how many baths, what, anything they want to share with me. And then kind of take it from there. So I just renewed with Realtor.com and I signed up for another zip code. And I did the full share, so over the next year, I should get, 72 leads total from them.
Ask you how much you're spending to do that?
Yep, I spend, I'm now going to be spending $185 a month, but I was just spending 83, and then to get the full share of the new zip code, it was 102.98, so it's about $185 a month. But I started out with Trulia and I was spending like $80 a month. And then if you can get somebody to partner with you, like on my Zillow, I have a lender that partners with me and they pay half of it. So they can pay 50% of they will let them do that. Zillow right now, I'm not getting very many leads, and I'm not getting the quality of leads that I used to get from Trulia. So I don't really know. I have a call later this week with my Zillow person just to kind of say, you know what? Right now my plan is to fade away from them. But I will say this year so far, I still have, if you go to the second page of my information, I have like 2 closings that came. I just said internet based on reviews, and those were people that saw my Zillow reviews. That's the one thing. Set up your Zillow account. You don't have to pay them. And then if you have a listing, make sure you claim the listing. That way you'll show up as the agent, and hopefully the people will be smart enough to call you if they're interested in that house. But it's the one spot to put your reviews and get everybody to do your reviews on Zillow. And that's people call, and they, so I think I had like 25 reviews on there. And
Jack Burns says that's the key.
Yeah,
That
it
the Zillow
is, because
reviews
people
are
will
huge
call
for
you and you
them.
say, well, how did you hear about me? And they're like, well, I was just looking on sales in my neighborhood and I saw, and I got Kansas City, Kansas. I sold a little chicken coop over there and I got some calls off of that. And, it just builds, but that's really important, and that doesn't cost you anything.
So the people who put the information in there, they are the home buyers only, or can there be any, if they've done business with you in any other way, can they go and say, I've known this person for so long, and I've done
Sure.
business with them?
Yes.
Can they do that?
Yes. Like I have people that I've worked with and then maybe for some reason they decide not to buy or they rent or they do something else. I ask them for a review too. And I think it's just as good because, I mean, like my condo deal that fell apart, you know, she knew, I mean, like I bent over backwards 1,000 times trying to make that deal work.
I think what Zeke's talking about is from another industry. He's coming from the car industry. with
Sure.
real
Oh,
estate.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, anybody can go in there. You, see, I have an account there, so now I've kind of forgotten how. If you just set up, and if you're not paying for it, but you can send them a link to do a review on Zillow, and you can go through there or call customer service, and they will help you. And once you get that link, I just send everybody that link and say, hey.
They don't have to be members.
No.
So how does that work when you go in with a lender? Is there a spot on your site that shows the lender and then they can click and go to the lender to get
Mhm.
pre-qualified?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there is. It's on my listings. They'll be down at the bottom, and it'll say, you know, for Lenny, and it's got their picture and whatever, and they can build their own whole thing too, and they can get reviews. You know, so the first thing I do is get on there and give them reviews, and I get my clients to review them.
Super, great.
Yeah.
I tried Zillow, and I had that attitude, but I had a lot of people call me on houses that were no longer on the
Yes.
market, that sold 3 years ago, they wanted to rent.
There's a
They
lot
knock
of-
on people's doors, and I was just frustrated by it. I don't
Right.
like someone lying, I don't like misinformation, and so I really had a hard time.
It's
Right.
a lot of cold
But,
leads, is that correct?
Realtor.com, I used to
It
do it
is.
years ago, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's something to do.
And I try to explain to people, I went to a thing Zillow had a year or so ago, it was called Zillow 360. And they explained that they get their information from 3 sources. But Kansas and Missouri are non-disclosure states. So they can't access 2 of those sources in our state. So like in Colorado and New Mexico and Louisiana, where I've had clients move from there, it's spot on, it's great. It's like they've got their own MLS. But here, it's a different story. And so people call and I say, well, look, you have to understand. Yeah, and I explain it to them and then they're like, oh, I get it. And then I just sign them up on their own
Isn't that somebody you
search.
could add to your database? I mean,
Right, oh,
doesn't
yeah.
mean that person couldn't become
Mhm.
a client of yours down the road, even though they.
Well, they have sale by owners on there, and then the people,
Right.
after I said, well, I think it's a sale by owner, oh, well, we'll just contact the nurses, and click. I mean, it was like, it was just awesome.
It's not
Right,
for you.
yeah.
It's
It
not
wasn't
for
for
you.
me.
I don't
It's not for
I don't
everybody.
tell them that it's a for sale by owner. I just say, let me call and I'll get it set up. I don't know, I just closed on 2 this year because I'm getting the FISBO people and signing them up because you can't get a listing otherwise.
She's gonna work at, Nancy
that's
Segura's
great.
gonna talk about that too.
Yeah.
That's a big topic. Any questions for Stephanie?
Thank you.
Stephanie, tell me what knowing now what you knew, if you knew now if you knew then what you know now, what would you do differently? Any tips for this new group?
Gosh, you know, I always try to think of things, but I always try to focus on like what's gonna, and what's a waste of my time. And honestly, everything I've done has really paid one way or the other. I think it's just being consistent, and that's probably, I'm ready now after 3 years to like, you know, maybe narrow down some of the things and not do everything, you know, but I'll stick with the farming, the open houses, and the internet. My fear now, though, is, I may get more internet leads and not have the time to do as much farming as I want to, even though it's just getting the postcard done and getting it out.
Yeah, see, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, that's what this is for.
So when you're brand new, I mean, you don't have any experience, everybody's looking for that experience, you know, realtor.
Yeah.
You
So
take it,
what
take it.
did you do?
Not really. I'm just listings to people just getting into the business.
Go ahead, finish your question,
So
see.
what did you do in the beginning? How did you present yourself to buyers or sellers that helped you get in? Because my fear is the first deal is the hardest because I don't know where to start and I don't know where to end. And I wish you have a class where you can do that. Say, okay, the first thing you do is have them sign this paper and then do this.
We do.
Because
It's
right
coming
now-
up, we're in the buyers.
You're just not there yet.
You're not there yet. It's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Gotta find those people first and then we figure out how to.
Put your previous experiences in there that, hey, you know,
I do, yeah, if you look, and it's still, I haven't really changed my profile a lot, but like if you look on our website or whatever, it has your profile. Yeah, I use my previous, marketing and development experience kind of as a springboard and show how it, transitions and how all those skills, are basically the same. And, it's funny, thankfully, a lot of people don't ask how long you've been doing it. You just kind of fake it. And they don't ask, and if so, I just say, oh, a while, quite a while, now a few years.
Feels like a long time.
And that's, yeah, exactly. And thankfully-
Back to your question, but I'm pretty new too, and that couple that I saw that they didn't ask, but I got a team. And seriously, I call on these guys,
That's a good idea.
and they help me navigate through closing the deal.
And you have terrific customer service and sales experience. You have terrific customer service and sales experience that you're now leveraging into your new real estate career. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask
And as little as you know more than most people buying or selling a house. You know? As little as you know more than most people. Go
And
ahead.
does it make a difference which website you have, website do you carry? Do you have the basic one, or do you have the upgraded one, or?
Do you have Delta or?
The Delta, I mean, I have the Delta, but they have also the upgraded version and the regular.
I do the Prime Agent one here, and I had one of my own for a while when I first started. I just had like too much going on. I said, forget it. So when we got one here, I did that.
That's good enough.
You just have to have a presence, I think.
It is, yeah. I mean, they find you, and again, I think Zillow, and even I know people find you on Realtor.com.
Do you even have a website, Bridget?
The
Okay.
prime agent.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So Stephanie, is there a Zillow or Zillow or any of those that's specifically for, so I'm going to be working with Dale Hermrich, right? We're going to be selling farmland and recreational properties and those kinds of things. So, I've gone on Zillow and looked at those things. They look like they're primary residential type things. Are there ones that are more specific to?
There are, and I can't remember who it is.
Land and farm.
Land source?
Land and
There's
farm.
Lands of America, and there's a couple of, but those are more like MLS for.
I would ask Paul Garnett out of our Gladstone office. His wife Lee is the broker there. Lee may know too, because I had that same question, because I had some land clients contact me, and I looked for something like that. And there is, I think there's one, maybe two out there that people do actually use. But
I've been contacted by a couple, as soon as you do this, right, you get 450,000 phone calls about people trying to sell you stuff.
Yep.
right,
One of them was one that does Google searches for folks who are looking for hunting
Right.
properties, like through Cabela's or,
Yeah. Yeah.
Lands of America or whatever, and we're offering to, but it just, I wasn't gonna
Right.
buy anything until I knew it.
yeah, I get all that Google stuff. The one thing, I don't know if you guys got agent, machine, and referral. If you get contacted by them, and I never could quite figure out how they got me, but they will send you leads, and I get regular leads from them, and it's free, but you pay a 25% referral. Which, when I first started out, I thought, but you know what? It just, one thing leads to another. And so if they somehow, and I think it was through reviews, somehow you hit so many reviews and ding, here they called. It's good and it's free, and it's called Agent, Machine, and Referral. And I had a closing this year that I did through them, and they're sending me more seller leads now, which of course I'm really trying to get those, yeah.
Thank you, Miss Stephanie. I gotta
Sure.
take a minute. I don't know if you guys recognize yet how generous it is for these people to share with you their finances and how many sales they've made and how they're doing it. I'm so impressed to be on the same team as these people. Okay, Kevin Straub.
Except for Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin, except for Kevin. Kevin's generous too. Kevin does two things I want him to talk about. First of all, how long have you been in the business, Kevin?
25 years.
25 years. And did you come from another industry?
Hotel and restaurant management.
Okay. And Kevin basically works two ways. He does working by referral and he does farming. Those are two real successful areas, so I wanted you to talk just a little bit about those. So pick one and go.
All right, I'll talk about them both.
Okay.
Farming, I do quick and easy. You pick a subdivision, or you pick an area that you like, and you market to it. It's not a fast, get rich quick. It's a long driven thing. I send out a postcard like this, and I'll pass these around. They're just, and all it says is the availability of that subdivision, what's on the market, whether it's pending. You can do pending, you can do solds, you can do whatever you want on it. They're not all my listings. Most of them are, but they do allow other people to list in that subdivision, which I'm working on getting that changed.
The Kevin law.
But anyway, it just tells them what the current market is and what's going on in that area. And they think I'm the only one in there, because I'm the only one sending these out. So it's 180 homes in the subdivision. This year, they've had 13 listings. I've had 9 of the 13. I've had 4 buyers. So yes, I'm very active in that subdivision. Somebody called me yesterday, said, I'm thinking about selling, would you help me? And I go, yes. They go, well, we have this friend that's a realtor, it's been a lifelong friend, and we're gonna call them. And I go, that's fine. I have buyers, but I'd happy to help you. He called the friend. Amazing, the friend did want to list it. Kind of shocked me. But anyway, so the friend's listening, but I'm gonna show it. So I'll probably sell it. So, but the last 2 listings I've listed and sold myself. So I have a whole waiting list. Because I've been working that subdivision for the last, well, I've been sending out those postcards for about 5 years. So I send out twice a month.
He's a machine.
Wow.
That's a machine.
But most people would only do them once a month. But I freaking, same people, twice a month. I find out if something changes, I send out a card. Nothing changes, I send out a card.
It's just a market update.
Their cards is just a market update. All it is market update. And I recommend a house cleaner or a house painter, and I'm in front of their face 24 times a year. But they know me. So I don't get 9 listings out of 13 listings in the subdivision because, so it costs me, I don't know what it costs me, a couple $100 a month to send out the postcards.
How'd you pick that subdivision?
All right, well, I kind of cheated on that subdivision.
That's okay.
Subdivision was the subdivision that I was a listing agent at the very beginning. So I sold them all originally. So most people already had a connection with me. But over time, they did, because I didn't market it for 4 or 5 years after I was there, and I wasn't getting nothing out of there. I started this, and boom, it all started back up again.
Sounds
So
like that's a long time ago. What year
That
was
was-
that?
Yeah, it closed out in '08, and I started doing the mailers probably in 11 or 12, probably 12.
But basically, they could pick their own neighborhood or a neighborhood they want to sell in.
You can pick any subdivision, one you like, one you're a cheerleader for. Because when you go in there, they want to say, I love the subdivision. Why do I, even if you don't live there, so I love the subdivision because X, Y, Z. So the people get it. So I do a lot, that's the only thing I farm. We're actually starting to farm. I've got now 2 other people I'm working with, and we're gonna farm 3 other subdivisions. Similar type of product, but in a different area. So anyway, that's my farming. I believe in it. Postcards are 50 cents. I print them out myself. I cut them myself. I stamp them myself. So it's not.
Kevin, do you personalize them? I mean, is it to the current resident of, or?
Yes, I have all the names. And
How
when
do you
something
do it?
sells,
I've received them before. I own a farm.
Right.
So I received those farming ones, and they're personalized. So somehow they're finding every landowner in a certain.
oh, you can go to the
Yeah,
tax records and find the names of
You're gonna have a
whoever
whole lot
owns.
of access you don't probably
Yeah.
realize yet.
Have the
Just
access to
suffer.
the owner's names and addresses.
So
on
I did
MLS.
farmers that
No,
own
no,
more
you're
than
going
50
to-
acres
It-
in Coffee County.
It depends on the county. Johnson County allows you to get their names and stuff, but not all counties will do that. So I mean, it's a hit and miss. I don't know about each county. I think it's the more up-to-date computerized. Some of those counties that are just farms, we still have the papers. Computers? What are you talking about? So I don't know. I don't know about all counties. I just know Johnson County.
But he's not doing farms, this is a real estate, I just wanna make sure that you were.
I just wondered, because I
He's
would
gonna
hate to
farm
say-
farms.
You're gonna, yeah, he's gonna, I just wanna make sure you understand, you can do that, but that's not what he's doing.
I just wondered if you can get all the addresses and names, even in a.
In Johnson County, you
Yeah.
can. Yeah. And shoot.
How far do you live from where you're from?
20 minutes, distance-wise.
Is that the general area you want to stay in is about half an hour distance?
That's up to
But
you.
somebody, it depends on, I mean, you want to be able to show. The other thing I do, a bad thing, I answer my phone call when it rings, okay? Most agents will like to go to voicemail and they return the calls. But when I first got started 25 years ago, I was buying a pager, and the agent that I asked to be, the other thing to start out with, if you find a busy enough agent, I went to that, I found the busiest agent in the office, and I said, I will give you 50% of my commissions if you work with me. And I was on a 50-50 split at the office. I was at a commission split office. So I was on a 25-75 split, not in my favor. Okay, I made, this was 25 years ago, I made almost $30,000 my first year. The money I gave to the gal that was helping me was a gift to me. The money I gave to my broker was theft. So after my first year, I went to 100% office, but that's another story. Anyway, I'm buying a pager, and I'm filling out the contract, and she's in her office. She goes, Kevin, what are you doing? I'm going, I'm getting a pager. I'll be right there. She goes, get in here. And I go, well, I'm almost done. I'll be right there. She goes, get in here now. I get in there, and she goes, I don't want a pager. And 25 years ago, every realtor in the world had a pager.
Oh, it's cool to have a pager.
Okay.
I was very happy.
And she goes, she had the big brick phone. She goes, you want a cell phone? And I go, I can't afford a phone. I have no money. She goes, my bill is $1,100 a month. And I go, I don't have $1,100.
Right.
25 cents a call.
And she goes, I pray it doubles. She'd been in real estate 1 year. She'd done $10 million in real estate just moving to town, her first year. She worked her ass off, and that phone rang, she answered it. You know, she lost a $1 million sale one day, a $30,000 commission fell out. She was, oh, God. The phone rang, hello, this is Gene. And I go, how do you do that? I hung up my phone and gone and got drunk. She goes, that phone call could have made me $60,000. So she goes, answer your call. The first person that talks, just like she said, the first person that calls back that lead, 90% of them gets the business. So leaving a message, if they're leaving a message with 3 people, whoever gets back to them soonest. But if you can answer the phone, anyway, that's another
And
story.
I picked my neighborhood I lived in, because I got sick of seeing other people's signs in the yard when I drove by. It made me crazy. And so
My neighborhood.
I picked my own neighborhood, and I do I do videos to them. I do Kevin's mailings. It was because Kevin taught me how to do it, basically. But and it's slow. It calls it farming for a reason. You plant and you water and you watch it grow, and then one day it plops. So it's called farming, not hunting, because it's a slower growth. But boy, it's a good source of income if you can do that for a certain neighborhood.
The next way I market myself, to me, it's a no-brainer. And I think there are a lot of agents that have been in the business a long time, even a short amount of time, that don't do it. They're shooting themselves in the foot, is by referral and pushing the by referral. There's people love you and trust you and like you when they bought the house, okay? Then they don't hear from you, and don't hear from you, and don't hear from you. And they have friends and family that are thinking about buying a house, and since your name isn't on the top of their tongue, you're not getting their referrals. So I do this thing, it's called Buffini. It's a monthly mailer. It costs $150 to get the box. I actually do the coaching, which is $450 a month, but that's something that's down the road. This is the one thing I regretted is Dan Odell was an agent here and is a friend of mine, and he started this at the very beginning. He told me I should be doing this from the beginning. I go, I don't have $150 a month to throw away every month. That was the biggest mistake I ever made. I should have started it immediately. You know, he's doing, I don't know, $100 million in real estate, his team is, okay? I didn't listen. I listen to the guys that are successful. Don't listen to the guys that are not that successful. Anyway, it's a monthly thing. You get a message, CD on what they're doing. They have little stickers. You get this monthly mailing, and you get these note cards, 50 note cards. You're supposed to be sending out 2 note cards a day, just saying, hey, it was great meeting you, great talking to you, whatever. People do not get mailers. They don't get personal mail in the mail anymore. And when you get your mail and you see some handwritten note to you, you're freaking going to open it. And you're going to say, hey, it was really nice talking to you the other day. And they're going to go, wow, that was kind of unusual. They sent me a note. It impresses people. It makes you at the top of the mind when they do have
Tell them
somebody.
what your sticker says that you send with it.
A little sticker that you put on there says, oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your, no, it's just what it says. I'm never too busy for your referrals. Okay? That's their tagline. So that's the mailer I send out once a month. Then they have a email thing that's very similar that I also send out to the same people in the middle of the month. I'm gonna go ahead and hand out, and then you get online and they have a little letter that addresses each one of these. And you can personalize it, put whatever you want on it, so you can hand these out. It just keeps you in front of the people, and it's your family. It's your family go, oh, yeah, I forgot, bro, you are in the real estate business. My neighbor was selling, and he asked me about it, and I didn't think about it. Well, you get this every month. They make them think about it.
Okay, the sickest feeling you can have is, it's like in the car business also. When someone shows up and buys a car from somebody else, like your neighbor shows up and buys a car from somebody else, and you say, hey, what happened? Well, I didn't know, that you were doing this.
Yeah.
And that would make you sick.
Boy, you'll get that, yeah.
And, in the house, selling business, I'm sure that's very important.
And when you're brand new, they have a letter that starts out that says, I'm just starting out, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And their website is incredible. They have all kinds of stuff out there. So it's not cheap, but to me, it's the best money spent because they're your referral for life. The Zillow leads, you get 75 leads and you get 10 deals out of it. That's a lot of work. If you have 75 people referring you, you're going to get a lot more than 10 deals. Because they already. First sales trainer I first started with, Tom Hopkins, he says somebody's got to like you, trust you, and let's see, what is it? Like you, trust you, or know you, I guess, and like you, trust you. Yeah.
No, like and trust you.
No, like and trust. Okay? So these people on Zillow, they don't know you, they don't like you, and they don't trust you. You can earn that, but if you already had a relationship with somebody, they already have those three. So boom. I'm not really good when I compete with other agents, because when I go into a listing appointment, I go, what are you gonna do? Well, we're gonna price it right, we're gonna put it on MLS, stick a sign in the yard, and we'll pray it sells fast.
That's his marketing plan.
That's my marketing plan. I don't have this, this is what you go to, and but when I'm not competing against anybody else, I go, great, where do we sign? That's what they say. But when you're competing with Bridget over here. Kevin, you're really nice. We really appreciated your time. We'll call you. And then you see Bridget sign in the yard, and you're going, huh? I would list with Bridget. So anyway, so I really like the Buffini teaches you how to, they have seminars all over the place. I'm going to San Diego for a seminar next month for 3 days. Then we're going down to Fort Worth. Sherry and I are going down to Fort Worth in October for another seminar.
Yep.
It's good to get to know the other agents, and it's,
Look at buffiniandcompany.com. Go to the website, check it out and see what's there. Buffini, BUFFINIAND, company.com.
the other thing they push is calling your people. I'm supposed to be making 5 calls a day. I'm supposed to be doing 2 notes every day, and I'm supposed to do 5 pop buys. What a pop buy is a small little gift. This was a huge hit. I went out online and bought Cracker Jacks. Okay, I made up a little Royals card over here about the Royals. They're doing really well. It just basically says real estate can sometimes throw some curveballs. Just like the World Series champions, I've got your bases covered to ensure a home run.
How cute is that?
And then on the back, thank you for your trust and confidence in me and my service. Oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your referrals. Okay, little box of Cracker Jack cost me $1. I go, if they're there, and then I have a little thing here. If they're there, I give it to them, say, hey, I'm never too busy. If they're not, I pop it on the door, take a picture of it, text it to them, say, hey, I just stopped by to say hi. Let me know if I can do anything for you. It's, again, I'm the guy that they think of when something happens. So it's easier to market to the people that already know you, like you, and trust you than people that don't know who they are. Even when you're brand new, you go, hey guys, I'm starving here. I need some help. Do you know anybody that's that needs some help in finding real estate? So
Actually, when I go out and do my pop buys, I actually tell them, I said, okay, I'm out trolling for referrals, so here's some Cracker Jacks. Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell? And, I just tell them exactly what I'm doing, and you get referrals that way.
Sherry had this great idea. She found $5 umbrellas at Home Depot. So we went out and I bought 20 umbrellas, and they got this little, on the website, they have all these little cute little sayings, but they all say, oh, by the way. But anyway, an umbrella, and I gave them an umbrella. Then Girl Scout cookies, they have a thing on Girl Scout cookies, so I dropped those off. So it's a great way of getting in front of your people and just reminding them that you're in the business. So I like working with somebody that already knows me, likes me, and trusts me, because I'm not competing with anybody else.
It's a lot easier.
So
Okay, Kevin, what would you have done differently?
I would have signed up for Feeney when Dan O'Dell told me 12 years prior to that doing it. Because he wasn't doing $100 million in real estate when he told me. So.
And that's how he did it.
Oh,
Exactly
that's
how
he lives by it.
Yeah, that's exactly how he did it. Any questions for Kevin about farming or working by referral?
How many houses did you do last year?
I think I did 30, but I've already done as much business this year as I did last year.
Awesome.
So I've surpassed my last year. This has been a much better year
Well, he had an
for me.
awesome party.
And the year before that, they also do client events. Buffini does. So I had people at Barley's, and it probably cost me about $1,000 because I had all food and drink for 60, 70 people. But those people like me and trust me, so that's, again, it's just another way of saying, wow, that's really nice of him.
You did reverse pie pot by too.
Right, we did a deal for Thanksgiving, was it the Wednesday or Tuesday, Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we had people come in and pick up a pie. So I went out and spent out $10 on a pie. They have cherry, apple, or pumpkin, or pecan. So they have a choice of whatever. It was $7 or $8 a pie. They came and picked it up. They go, wow, that was nice of them.
We give away free
People
pies.
bought houses from you already?
Right.
Some
My client
are,
was.
but some are people that you put in your database, just people that you know. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be
Say, hey.
past clients.
People that say, hey, we might think about it in a couple of years.
Well, not even
Go over there and
them.
give them a pie.
But they know, remember how we talked about that particular activator? If they hear somebody looking to buy, those are the people that you want to invite to those things, because they'll listen to you.
They know you, like you, and trust you. They're going to refer you.
Do you take people off your list if they don't refer you anything in the 2-3 years or?
I haven't.
No.
Well, I take people off I do take people off for one reason or another, but I have people on there that have never referred me, but every once in a while, they're gonna sell their house, and again, what it costs me to send them a letter out every month, if I'm gonna make $6,000 or $9,000 on them selling their house, it's gonna take an awful lot of mailers to make up. It's a better than a 50-50 return. So it's a $200,000, $300,000 house.
So what do you all think about new construction? Like, is that a good idea to go, I mean, and how do you do that?
You have to team up with either a builder or a developer. And that's gravy. If it's a subdivision that's selling, that's crazy not to do it. But every realtor and their brother wants that gig. So you gotta, it's usually they have a connection.
Get it exclusive, so this way nobody else can get in?
Right. Which you have to get in a relationship with the builder or the developer, whoever's in charge of marketing their
Because
subdivision.
you've got the listing for all the houses in that subdivision.
How did you get that listing to be the primary agent?
Well, I kind of got lucky.
Was share your luck?
My brother and father are builder developers.
Oh.
It's people that know me, like me, and trust me.
And they don't have a choice, right?
Well, they had a choice. I came that close to losing 12 listings that I had. My brother was going to list with Kathy Kaler. Or actually, Heather Bortnick. It was a Heather Bortnick team. Because she came in, sales were slow, and she was wearing a very nice outfit. And he was very impressed. So, luckily, my broker showed the numbers that I was outselling her team in that area. So, anyway.
I had another question. What if you're going into an area where someone else is dominating the farming area? What would you recommend to be that, to
I definitely stay out of my subdivision.
I was gonna say, we've written down the addresses on all the cards.
Do you like take your stuff out the mailbox?
No, all you do is, there's people that don't like me in my subdivision, and people that love me, and people that are in between. So if somebody else was competing with me, doing the mailers, they'd probably getting more business. There are people that are listing in that neighborhood. Why they're not farming? Farming is kind of a lost art.
It's old school.
It's old
It's
school.
old school.
But it works on a consistent basis that's not that expensive.
And do it better than they're doing it. You know what I mean? Stop by with the Cracker Jack.
I stopped by, everybody in the subdivision got Cracker Jacks. Last year, everybody got a bag with my name and one of those grocery reusable bags. So I got those, I went out door to door and knocked on every
You're
door.
gonna make the
and said,
agent
"Here."
mad, but don't let that stop you.
Somebody
Might find out
put-
if they live there, don't skip their house. I'm just saying that might be good thought.
Somebody put flags and American flags on 4th of July weekend in my subdivision, those bastards. But anyways, it turned out well because that does work. People like that, but she didn't come pick them up. And then she was ticked. The neighbors were picked because they're old folks. They don't like trash. It didn't look so good. Sherry does the flags, and she even puts a note on there. I'll be back to pick it up on such and such date. That's what I'd recommend. Because then you can use them again next year, for one.
And you get two exposures.
and you
If
get
they're
two
out in the yard,
exposure.
they see you twice,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So don't leave trash on something on their door if they're not, anyway.
Okay. Any other questions for Kevin? Thank you, Kevin.
Consistency and keep going and doing it and answer your phone.
Yeah.
So,
Crystal Fields. Crystal is new to Realty Executive. She's worked lots of other places and lots of other things, and a lot of her business is built on networking. Is that right, Crystal? So tell me, how long have you been in the business?
24 years.
And did you come from a different industry prior to that?
I was very young. I was 12. We're gonna stick with that.
How do you generate most of your leads?
Well, I do two things. I do networking and social media, and I see social media as an extension of my networking. So in my mind, I know to y'all it's separate, but in my mind it's not, because that's how you're building relationships. So again, this is the long game. When I first started my networking group, I lead one of the largest networking groups in the city. It was 6 months before I got a lead. But then when I sold that house, I made $9,000. It's the same kind of thing, so you've got to stick with it. And so you have to build those relationships. And that doesn't happen by just going around asking for things.
So talk about your networking group, how you pull that together.
Yeah, so I lead an RLI group, which is Referral Leaders International, which actually was established here. It was spun off of BNI, if some of you are familiar with that. The leader had been a big BNI person previously, and he just took some things he didn't like in BNI and created his own company. So we have 8 chapters here in Kansas City, 30 nationally. They're working on doing more things nationally. And I had been in a group, and at the time I was selling homes via auction. I wasn't the leader, I just was a member. So when you're in a networking group like that, it's closed seats. So that means there's only one realtor, there's only one lender, there's only one of everything. So you don't have competition within the group, because the whole purpose is that you help each other with business, you help refer. I think the mistake people make is they think they need to sell to everybody in the group. And if that's the mentality you have, you're going to fall short pretty quickly. Because what you want, I want to know who Bridget knows if she's in my group. I want her connection. She may or may not buy from me. I don't care. Does that make sense? Because it's much bigger to have exposure to her group than it is just to her. You will run out really quick, because what are the odds? I have 23 people in my group. What are the odds of those 23 people going to buy and sell this year? Literally, maybe one, right? I literally closed on one a couple weeks ago, kind of thing. So you might get one a year out of that. We're going to starve on one a year. So you build those relationships, and then Facebook is a big deal. So the way that ties into Facebook is, so I'm able to, how many of you are friends with me on Facebook? If not, send me a request. Are you friends with me? So it's Crystal Lester Fields, so send me a request. So I closed one of my gals that is in my group. She bought a house with me, and she wouldn't let me post it on Facebook. She had it all planned. She took a picture with her kids outside the house. She waited a couple days after closing until they were like moving in, took a picture. She got over 300 likes. My group shared it. I had 40 shares. If you don't know about Facebook, those are huge numbers.
Yes.
Huge numbers. But you also have to have enough friends. If you have 200 friends right now, you're never going to get those numbers. So Facebook is a certain game of numbers at the same time. So I have the power of sending a private message to my group or announcing in a meeting, hey, I've got this event, can y'all share this for me? Or if they got this going on. To be quite honest, half the time I put stuff on there, they're sharing stuff I didn't even ask them to share. I'm like, okay, well, somebody shared that. That's interesting. I got my hair cut. I mean, just the stuff they share is like, all right, well, whatever, kind of thing. But it's a lot of power because, like, I have, I don't know how many friends, 1,900 friends. I'm pretty average in my group. A lot of the people that I work with have 5,000 friends and have 4 and 5 pages because they've maxed out at 5,000.
Are they local?
I'm sorry?
Are they all local or?
Oh, no, they're national. I have a lot of local. Okay, so I have 2 rules. Either I know you, I'm going through when you send me a friend request, I'm going, okay, we know like 40 people together, I'm probably going to go ahead and accept your friend, or you're a realtor across the country. As a side note, I think I mentioned this in the class I taught last week on social media. I made a decision last year, I want to see if I could do $1 million in referral business, because I like to challenge myself like that.
$1 million with what?
Referral business. So I made a couple posts on Facebook, my group shared it. And 2 months later, I did 3 referrals for over $1 million. I made $10,000, $12,000 that month.
So how often do you meet with your group?
We meet weekly.
Okay.
So every week, and I'm the leader, and that's a big piece of it too. You want to be at the front of the room. Because the person at the front of the room, that's where you're building the respect, is at the front of the room. So when I first started, I was the education person. So I come up and educate, because I'm also the trainer here for those of you who haven't met me yet. So you want to be at the front of the room because you're building respect by being at the front of the room. Does that make sense? And so then I was asked to start a group, and I actually ended up taking over a group, and I tore that group down and rebuilt it. And our group did in referrals within ourselves, $256,000 last year. That's money we made just in our referrals, not like our total. We also have an in-house charity we gave over $30,000 to, and I'm actually more proud of that number because I only like to work with givers. I like to work with people that are really out to give. And
so if you were Misty and you were going to start your own referral group, where do you start?
I would go look at some other groups and kind of see, first of all, like what other people are doing, see who's doing it well, kind of thing. With like RLI, you can start your own group. It's a little harder than it sounds because you got to have the right partners. So I took over this group that had 13. I shaved them down to 8 and then built them back. I started getting rid of people. You don't show up, you don't give referrals, you don't have integrity, you don't return my phone calls, bye-bye. But that's how I am. I started shaving it down. I only have 3 people right now from the existing group. But I'm at 23. I stay right around 23. That's a good number for us. We do a lot of business with that.
And you meet every week?
We meet every week.
Where at?
We did meet at Bass Pro forever. We just moved to Rasmussen College. If you guys know where that is, it's kind of across from JUCO. So they have free meeting rooms there, just by the way. If anybody needs a meeting room, it's kind of nice to have because they'll hold about 70 people.
And what do you do in your meetings?
In my meetings, we do all the visitors get introduced, all the members get to do a 20-second infomercial. If somebody came, so like you're a realtor, if any of you came to my meeting, all you would be allowed to do is stand up, say your name and herewith, and sit down. You don't get to give an infomercial because, see, I've paid to be a part of this group. And so it protects the people that are in the group. Does that make sense? So that's how those groups work. And so, but if you weren't, if we didn't have that seat filled, then you'd give your 20-second infomercial. There was an education segment, and so that kind of varies. And then every week we alternate, somebody gives a 10-minute presentation on their business. So, and we have, caterers, photographers, insurance, car salespeople. I mean, it's just everything you can think of in our group. I'm really selective, though, at this point. If you aren't making or don't want to make $100,000, I really don't want you. I realize I said if you don't want to, you don't have to be there yet, but you have to want it because that's just who our group is. We've tripled people's income in the last year. So there's kind of like a waiting list to get into our group. But it's all about the connections. We're going to a Royals game Friday. There's 52 of us going to a Royals game. So those are fun things to do. So it's all about building those relationships. You can't just show up at the meeting. I don't care if you go to chamber, because there's lots of ways to do networking. If you don't build the relationship, I don't get to know you and find out, that you have kids. We find something you connect on. And that's also what happens on Facebook. I mean, all this is so interwoven. I post on Facebook. It's always humorous to me, the stuff that gets a whole lot of likes. The stuff about my grandkids always gets 10 attractions. Did you see the little story I posted about my grandson?
Yes,
on
about
Sunday?
the conversation.
About the clouds.
Yeah.
And so they were in the backseat of the car on the way to the movies, and they're 4 and 6. And one of them said, the clouds are sure fluffy, and the other one says, I want to touch them. No, I want to taste one. I hear they taste like cotton candy. And so the other one goes, well, how do you know? And she goes, well, I just know these things. And so then the little older one said, well, you better be careful eating those. You're going to get a storm in your mouth. Those are thunderheads. And so, I mean, this is like a real conversation. And so, and I always know when you post those kinds of things, like that goes crazy. Did that have anything to do with real estate? But do people connect all of a sudden? Oh my gosh, she's a grandma. I'm a grandma. So you've got to figure out how to connect with people, but don't overshare. You don't put your drama on there either, because you know what? Nobody wants to hear it, really, kind of thing. So you just make those connections. I now get about a lead a week off of Facebook that I don't ask for. People sending me, somebody's moving. I started 2 years ago, just people randomly posting, sending me a message that their neighbor was a for sale by owner. It was the most bizarre. Have you seen this at all? Had that experience? Just out of the blue, people started just messaging me that somebody's a for sale by owner kind of thing. And I was like, well, this is kind of cool. So then I started being a little bit more intentional with my posts, just kind of here and there. It's just about building the relationship. So that's your long game. This stuff, though, you got to do both. You can't start out doing the long game, like our stuff, because you'll starve. Or you do. You got to have some sales to get you going. This is how you stay in the business 25 years, right? So you got to get it going. You know, I'm in my 3rd year with my group, and so that's a big piece of it. I sold 27 houses last year, and that's with being a full-time trainer. So that's...
Any questions for Crystal?
I sold 27 last year. Probably what I'll do this year.
Questions for Crystal on networking and or social media?
I'm sorry?
What's the name of your group?
We're Casey Storm, so it's RLI Casey Storm. And you guys are welcome. We meet every Monday at 11:30 at Rasmussen College, which is catty corner from JUCO. You know where that is at College of Quivira?
Is this a good you, Lee? I'm thinking of you.
Is it a building or you meet at the community college?
No. Rasmussen is its own college. It's
Oh,
catty
yeah,
corner.
sure,
It's a half a
sure,
block
yeah.
east of Quivira on College. And they have free meeting rooms. And so we have one of our seats as a caterer. So she caters our lunch every week. So we just have to let her know. And it's nice because you can bring in your own food and drink. So you just want to stop by Wendy's because you forgot or you didn't want to eat whatever we were having that week. You can bring in your own thing. But you guys are welcome to come. Just kind of see it and touch it and feel it. I tell you, I run the group different. I hear it all the time. We're different than anybody else's group. And every group is that way to a certain degree. But I'm being really reserved here. Y'all, how many of you have trained? None of you hardly have trained with me yet. You were here, yeah, you did the social media. So this is me being calm. I'm trying to be good for Sherry.
Yes.
Am I doing okay? She wouldn't give me any cookies. She said I didn't need any.
She should have one when she leaves for good behavior.
She can have it because she did so well.
I know.
I'm so impressed. Any other questions for Crystal on networking or social media? Crystal, what would you have done differently, having known then what you know now? Any advice for this group?
Yeah, definitely the database. What everybody said is really good. The database, if I would have realized that much earlier, as I've been with different companies across 24 years, because companies get bought, like I was with Reese and they merged with Nichols and things like that happen. I didn't realize the value of having my own database, like, because you put it in their system and you don't realize, like, even when I left Keller Williams, they say I can get it, but it's a real pain. It's not that there's, it's just, it is, and you don't realize it until you're on the other side going, oh, I'm over here doing business and this is such a pain to have to go back and get that. So really managing my own information, I would have made sure much earlier I did, and that goes back to your database, making sure it was mine and I kept it in my system and not bought into their system, or at least done both.
You can export.
You know, kind of thing,
from-
exactly.
You can export from prime agent
Yeah, done some
really
type of
easily.
a backup so that I always had the information. What if the system goes down? That's stuff you don't think of. What if you never leave but the system goes down or something goofy happens and
Do
kind
you
of
guys
thing.
see why we did database as our first class?
It's huge.
It's kind of your foundation that you do everything on. Thank you, Crystal. And that leads us to Miss Nancy Seguier. Nancy, how long have you been in business?
20 plus years.
20 plus years. And did you do something a bit prior to this?
Before I came to the U.S.,
Uh-huh.
which is about 28 years ago, I was a school teacher, and then I managed schools in Pakistan.
Really?
So, and a big school, big organization.
They
And then I got married and came here, and was in Chicago, working my first year in the U.S., working in a daycare, which was horrible. And then the secretary said, you need to be a realtor because It's, you have a lot of free time and you can do it whenever you want. So I became a realtor and joined a company. It's no longer there now, Red Carpet. It was a spin-off of Century 21. And went to training school then, became a realtor, and sold 4 houses the first year and thought I was such a great realtor. It wasn't that way. But over the years, I've done many things. You know, realtors are, they always try to sell you something, some book, some program, something. I've done Hobbs Herder, I've done things, different programs. And now 20 years later, I realize the most important thing is your database. I did have a database. It was Agent 2000 when I was at RE/MAX. When you convert it, you drop some, you lose some, it messes up fields. Then I went to Top Producer and then came here to CRM with Buffini. I suggest you have another system like in Outlook, back it all up. Your database is your most important thing.
Or just never leave the company.
Yeah, or never leave it. Yeah, that's true. But you know, when you've been 20 years, you've moved around. So your database is your gold mine. And I never quite understood that. Today my business comes entirely by referral. It's a niche market. I get, in the last 3 years, I've had health challenges, so I've been working part-time, but I still have business without working. I'm in remission. I'm very happy to share that with you all. And I'm going back. Thank you for going back to what I really think every new agent should be, should be forced to do. And I say this strongly. Buying leads, doing all this will come. Where can you get business that is today, now? Who's out there selling their house now? Think about it. Who would you think is there? Advertising it, come get me. It's a for sale by owner. He's put his sign up, hey, I'm a sucker, come get me. And it also gives you the opportunity to practice your presentation skills, your scripts. The more scripted you are and more internalized, the more professional you come out. You don't have to tell them you've been in the business 2 months. It's when you exuberate this confidence, and it comes with learning the scripts. That's when you walk in and you get the listing. He doesn't know that you've only been 2 months in the business, or you have a support group that's going to walk you through the contract. It's just, you're there. You can, and if you goof out, guess what? They won't even know. I mean, you call them and you say, hi, this is Nancy. 5 minutes later, he's going to say, and who am I talking to? You say, Nancy. And then 20 minutes later again, oh, what was your name? It's Nancy. So they don't even remember you. I have fallen, I mean, when I got my first FISBO, she's a friend of mine, Gigi Kitzler. I stood outside her house and prayed, Lord, I need your help, make me get it. I prayed and prayed. I got the listing, and there was an agent who was supposed to list it. He's a RE/MAX agent, Ken Patrick. 18 years later, he still doesn't acknowledge me and talk to me because of that. It's a long time, isn't it? But this is where you can go get it. And don't be afraid, it's free. Pick up the phone and always identify yourself, you're a realtor. Believe me, learn your scripts, practice presentations. Go try it on them, they won't even know.
So take me through the steps. If you were going to go try to get a FISBO today, what would you do?
First of all, I'd have my scripts in front of me.
Which are in your packet.
No, they're not. I'll email it to you.
I gave it to, I saved it from last time and I put it in your packets.
So it goes like this. You tring, somebody asks, hello. Hey, I'm calling about your home for sale. Yeah, it's there.
In your packet.
And you'll have some objections. Write those down. I had one of the best coaches. They used to charge $1,000. I'm talking of Mike Ferry. I was in that one-on-one program when I came to Realty Executives, and they charged $1,000 a month for my coaching. And that year, the first year that I did it, I dropped all my niche market, all I did was for sale by owners, and I had 23 listings out of them. It's a discipline. Today, Every time I get depressed, get tired of my niche market, I go back. And so you learn that, this many calls, you'll score it. So many calls, one appointment. So many appointments, one listing. You can create your business.
Do you know what your numbers are for that?
Yes, 7 calls, 1 appointment, 3 appointments, 1 listing. And these are unqualified listings. When you say unqualified appointments, when I call you and say, hey, when I'm out at your home, would you list with me? And he says no, then or you don't ask that question, that's an unqualified appointment.
Okay.
3 unqualified appointments, 1 listing.
Okay. So how do you come up with for sale by owners? Do you find them
They're
online?
on
You drive
Zillow
through the
now.
neighborhood?
Zillow's come up with a ton of it.
They're on Zillow.
Go,
There
use
you
it,
go.
and you drive by. Just take a photograph.
And you call them and you
And
say.
you call in. Remember, you walk into into Macy's or Dillard's, the lady will say, hey, can I help you? And you say, no, I'm just looking. And then 10 minutes later, she comes back, can I help you? So at least minimum 5 times call them. The person who keeps calling, the last one standing gets the listing.
How do you weather the rejection?
It's not personal. I have, when I practice, I have a mirror in front of me. I have music, Jetsy, it sort of gets your endorphins flowing. And I dance, I smile, and I call them, and I swear, asshole, afterwards. It's not personal. He doesn't know you. You're just practicing. Go with the mindset. Go with the mindset that I'm going to do it 1 day a week. Don't even do it like I used to do it 5 days a week. Do it 1 day a week. Take 2 hours of your time. Just enjoy it. And my big problem was you can hear the accent. As much as I try to get rid of it, you can hear it.
You have an accent?
Yeah. So that used to become a conversation.
So that's an advantage they all have on you, even at this
Yeah.
point.
And remember, it's tough. Yeah, you get, the worst rejection is that somebody really close, goes, sells the house with some idiot agent. That is worse than this. That is really worse than this. Like my best friend just listed her neighbor's house with a guy who sold 4 houses in the whole year.
Yeah, she's not quite over that yet.
Yeah,
I
I have cried over it.
Tough
How
year,
could-
28 years.
So go try it. This is free. It's a phone call. Don't be afraid.
And if
they
you
don't
do,
know
what the
you.
heck else are you doing?
Right. All I can do is say no.
All I can do is say.
Yeah, and
They're not gonna crawl through
they
the phone and
won't.
beat you up.
No, and they don't know what they're doing. So sometimes, I go for the jugular. They'll always ask me, do you have a buyer? Yes, I have a lot of buyers, but I'm not sure if they're going to buy your house. When can I come see your home?
Yeah.
So I'm not lying. Do you want me to be honest with you? Do you have a buyer? I have a lot of buyers. Do you want me to be honest with you? Yes, ma'am. I have buyers, but I don't know what your house looks like. When can I come see it?
And that gets you in the door.
That gets me in the door. Now, if you were Nancy, the old Nancy, you'd fall in front of the door. I always tripped. I was such a klutz. But it's got better. It's got years of... The fear just made me fall right there. I've had stupid things happen. But if I can do it, you can do it. Don't be afraid.
So when you get in the door, then what do you do?
You give them your card, be professional, look around,
We have a whole class on that coming
Yeah.
up, on listings.
on listings. But where can you get free business?
So you're going in there with the idea of a listing appointment?
You're gonna get the listing.
I'm going in there, girl, to get you. That's what I always say. I'm going in there, sucker, to get you. Because you are competition to me. You're a for sale by owner. You are my competition.
Yeah, see, that's where because I focus, this is my daughter, and we go around all the time throughout the city, and we're taking pictures of any kind of for sale by owner. So we actually do it together. And I'll call them, but the number one thing that I'm getting is you're a realtor. I get calls all the time from a realtor, and I will try to get the preview and say, well, yes, I do have a buyer. Actually, I got 2 buyers, and they're looking for this and this and that. Let me go ahead and preview your home. But then it's almost like that bait and switch thing. You're going in there, and they're not stupid. So then by me coming in there and saying, oh, and by the way, I mean, do you wanna go ahead and sign this contract? And we
No.
list you, I mean,
No.
so I kinda need that help on the transition.
There you
Okay,
go.
I can help you. Just give me a.
You're gonna help her now? Can you tell her now?
You go in there, you just look, and then you say what?
Well, you look around and say, hey, have you had any offers? How many people have, how many you ask them the things that they're not aware.
Yeah,
How many qualified? Did you get anybody bring an offer to you? And you'll be surprised.
I've done that. I've done all of that, and the guy that I was dealing with, he's some type of federal employee, and he just came out and said that I think every realtor is stupid. And so it didn't bother me. I was just like, okay. And actually, I brought my buyers with me that wanted to preview the home, so it was more of the presentation as well.
Yeah.
And I was asking all those questions like, have you got any strong offers? How are you screening your callers? Since you are going to do this on your own, have you done the title search? Have you spoke with the title?
This should have been done on the phone, never with your buyer. When you take it.
Well, my buyer left at that point.
This is all
Before you hit the door.
before you hit the door. When you walk in and you're showing a buyer, you should
Yeah.
have that form filled out, that they will pay you a commission. You're not there to, you need to get paid. And so if you're going to take the time to show your buyer, I need to have something in writing that I'll get paid.
That's a
There's
one-party listing,
Yeah.
basically a
One
commission
time,
agreement.
One time showing
Okay,
agreement.
so if I do, so I need to come with that form?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what's
You
called.
will
Permission
talk
to
to,
show.
permission
Okay.
to show.
It's on KCR.
You will call him and say, after you've asked him, you ask him, hey, if I were to bring you an offer, are you negotiable? Ask him things that, make him think, what is it that you need to net from your home store? And he'll say, what? Because he never thought of net. And if I can get you more, will you list your house with me? Those are questions, put it out. Don't
And
be
they
afraid,
are-
do it all on the
They
phone.
are getting hammered by people.
No.
Keller Williams has a really strong approach
Mhm.
about.
Same
this
thing,
post,
Mike
this
Ferry's
post, this
scripts.
post. Do you ever tell them what you could do to sell their house that maybe they can't do by themselves?
No, you don't threaten them. You want to
Well,
go
I'm
and.
threatening
They
them.
feel threatened.
that.
They feel threatened.
If you say, this is what I could do to maybe
No,
market
you
it.
don't want to sell yourself like that.
Okay.
You want to ask him all the qualifying questions. Would you work with an agent? Will you pay a commission? Yes, I'd love to. If you have a buyer, I'll give you commission, right?
Right, most people say yes to
Well,
that.
They're very willing to pay that.
Right.
But you want to get to his motivation. How soon do you have to be with your family? Where are you moving to?
Pain and pressure.
Yeah, and you get them to that corner, and then when you get your appointment, okay, that's when you start working.
So what I hear you saying is you basically are coming into an agreement with them, not necessarily to list the house originally, but if you find a buyer, they'll pay you a commission. And that gets you to the appointment where you can go see the house that might lead to the
Not
listing.
always, not always. Sometimes I get the listing.
Okay.
Not
Damn it.
always.
But only if you actually have a buyer that might be interested in that particular house.
Then you get
when
that
you would-
form, yeah, but no, when you're talking, your aim is to list the house.
Okay.
In my opinion, the people that put their house for sale by owner, they just think that they can make more money.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
exactly.
that's the motivation. What is the motivation for sale by owner? Because they think that they don't have to pay that 6% or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
See, I think there's two
So-
things. I think that's one.
Well, see, so if you go over there and say, okay, you're asking this much, and what are you willing to pay? This much? So let me ask you this, Mr. Seller, if I can get you more than this,
Mhm.
would you be interested?
That's done on the phone.
So
If I can get you more, can we sit down and do business together?
I would do that when I'm on their face, because I think once they talk to you, I mean, get in, but once they see you and you talk to them, I think you can convince them when they're face to face. On the phone, it's very easy for them to hang it up.
And they hang up on me all the time. Once I say the R word, click.
I don't.
I
Yes.
love getting through the notes fast, though.
Yeah,
And that's a time saver. If you can do that on the phone, it's gonna save you a ton of time, but you can spend all your time in front of them trying to argue with them or push them. But if you qualify them on the phone and they're
The
qualified.
more you qualify, the
Right.
better your,
Right.
it's like the leads that you get on the internet. And I think when Realtor.com came out, 15 years ago, I think it was, when all this started. Everybody said there'll be no for sale by owners. Guess what? 15 years later, we still have for sale by owners.
Kevin, you were gonna say there's a second reason
Well, I
people,
think the second reason is, and I'm selling my home right now, so.
for sale by owner?
No.
Yay.
I actually listed it with, before I got my license. and
Okay.
stuff, I listed it with a family member. Kevin. I did this with Kevin, 'cause he's not-
Damn it.
Hey, Kevin, if you
Because you would have smiled enough.
But the other reason I think they do it is because, and one of the reasons that we actually considered it in the beginning was, we could ask less for our home and sell our home quicker because we would net the same amount. If I'm selling my house for $500,000, which I'm not, but if I'm selling my house for $500,000, that's $35,000 in commission at a 7% rate, right? I could ask $465 or $466, my house would sell faster, I'm in a hot market, right? I think that's the other reason.
You're working at the premise that you're going to get $465. Now let me argue this with you. The for sale by owner shopper is also looking to beat you up on price.
I'm not saying that I would do that.
No,
I'm just saying
but-
that there's two reasons.
She's being
One
devil's
is,
advocate
I
there.
think I could make more
Right.
money. Another is, I think I could sell my house faster. I doubt if I'd sell my house for 500 either, right? I mean, I can play that game. You probably negotiate down to 45
But she's right, the for
or
sale by
whatever.
owner
But both of them
is
are
gonna try to
go-
negotiate you down another 7%,
That's right.
you know?
So,
I
and
agree
that's
with
what
that,
you
and I
bring
think
out
that's
to
the
the
mindset.
buyer, that the people that come in, when they see your for sale by owner sign, do not have access to the comps that I have. And they can get, so they're going to, guess what? They're going to give you wholesale price. So you argue that, you put your point there. But when you straight away go for the listings, they just turn away.
Well, since you actually, what was your reasons for thinking of doing it for sale by owner?
One, I had been to real estate school, right?
And they all
I
have.
hadn't listed, I hadn't signed with a brokerage. I thought, okay, I have the basic knowledge of this. It's a hot market, right? Houses are selling quickly. I could probably sell it quicker. I could save the real estate commission and offer somebody, let's say I got half, right? Let's say instead of the 35, I said, I'll just list it for 17.5, and I'm still gonna make $17,500 more, even if I take. So it was those kinds of things. I felt like, one, I was smart enough to do it by myself. Two, it was a hot market. Three, I had time on my side. I was without work and we're making a life change and all that kind of stuff. Why not test it out?
Did you try?
No.
There's some,
No,
and there's,
and there were reasons why, right? My old job came back to haunt me, and pretty soon I was consulting in the old industry, and I was so busy that I just thought, I really don't have time to do both, so I was suddenly
it's
I was
more
back.
complicated
So-
than people think it's gonna be.
It is a lot
too.
more.
There's a
It
lot
really
more
is.
moving parts to that, and some people just don't value what we do. I mean, there's people out there that just simply don't value what we do. I mean, it's the difference between buying a car from Z or going on the internet and buying one on Craigslist, you know?
Well, out of all the things that the panel discussed, ever since I've got my license, I have done nothing but for sale by owners. Even the transactions that I had last year was strictly for sale by owners. One of them just sent off of a letter and he called me back and listed. I mean, after I got out of real estate school. The second one was an old couple and I literally just had to harass them at their house.
Well, you
once
don't
a
have
day.
to.
Literally.
But some of my for sale by owners that I did list over the years have been my closest friends. And I'm 18 years later, I still know them. You know, there's a family, Joyce and Stephen Combs. 18 years later, they still send me this.
Read Nancy's scripts, they might be
I don't
helpful.
have them and I want because I've heard you here before talk, but I think my biggest thing is just overcoming, excuse my language, but bullshit. I get so sick and tired of getting rejected because of other realtors' mishaps. Because when you're coming in with strong
Every
honesty,
business.
integrity, and you really passionately want to help them, yes, it is a strong market and a hot market. And I've even seen for sale by owners, especially on a busy street, where they don't have to list it with an agent because they are actually, for some of our owners are actually selling their home
They
on their
are.
own. They
They
really are.
They are.
Because the
They
market
are.
is so good. You know, now if they are, yeah, part of me is like, I don't care, you know, but also at the same time, how do I get over that? How do I get in the door? How do I?
Still, a very large percentage of for sale by owners end up listing.
Listing.
So they're not always selling their houses. They are, some they are, some they aren't.
Better than they used to be.
I
Better.
literally do
Okay,
drive-bys,
but did you
and
hear
I'm not talking about
what I
it,
heard when she
but-
did, what I heard what she described? I don't know if you guys heard it, music blaring, looking in the mirror,
I do
smiling,
that.
let me,
I
I
do
know
that.
you do it all.
Yeah.
You do everything right. But what I heard from her is that her attitude is bubbly and happy. And if they turn her down, great, thank you,
One more
I
no
appreciate
makes a
it.
yes,
What I've
yeah.
kinda heard from you is that I wanna get rid of the bullshit, and I want them to be, I'm honest, I'm integrity. So you already, it's an attitude and of appreciation and saying, I appreciate you guys saying no to me, thank you. And walking out there with a smile on your face.
Send
And
them
so
a
like,
note.
you know what? Cause eventually you're gonna get people that are not gonna say no to you, and eventually you're gonna, for sale by owners is a tough
Yeah.
cookie. You gotta go in there with an attitude saying, I hope they turn me down. Cause then eventually somebody's not gonna turn me down.
Real
It's a
estate
numbers
is a
game.
tough cookie.
I
Real
think
estate.
if you go with an attitude that, hey, it's gonna be a no, so how can I prepare myself to that?
And just
What am I
say, and
gonna
be
say?
okay with it, be
Because-
happy.
because, you know, so you're
Hershey-
ready for them, see, if you know what they're gonna say, objection, there are so many, I mean, there's so many ways they can tell you no. And if you figure it out that, you know, that if he says this, I'm gonna say this.
If I get 100 no's, I'm gonna get one yes.
Yeah, I mean, I understand.
And Kevin is nice enough, he's paying 7% to his relative to list his house, okay? Then he's got a friggin' license, okay?
A lot more money.
The other-
Check me out.
The other thing I would add to that is, you're hoeing a tough
Yeah.
row. That's a tough one to do.
Yeah.
So we went to a seminar one time that talked about the 4 different pillars, that maybe you do a little farming, and maybe you do a little bit of referral, and maybe you do a little, you know what I mean? Don't hang all your hat on that one thing, because it will burn you out and you'll get exhausted by
Find
it.
something you really enjoy.
And it's hard.
You know,
Just
strangely,
pick on
I
my-
enjoy for sale by
Do you know, take the mindset of what more zapped. It was such a high for me. It was like getting high, you know, on marijuana.
And she really likes that stuff.
She had cancer, so she's got personal experience.
So it was like getting one high. I got it.
Yeah.
And to me, it was, you've got to remember, I came from a different country, accent. And the only reason I went, and I'm going to share a very personal thing. My ex-husband said, you always work with people of our own community. You're not a good realtor. That's made me go nuts. It was mind over. I have to show you. And I'm still standing. So, you know, it's a great feeling. Don't get afraid. Our business is a tough business. If you can continue being a realtor after 3 years, hey, you made it.
Is that what it is, 3 years?
Yeah.
The dropout is 3
So,
years.
Marcia,
So
you
what
had
do you
something.
say when you go to a party and people are bragging about selling their homes themselves? Do you say
Oh,
anything?
it's so wonderful. I had
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And the same on Facebook when they put it out
Yes,
there and everybody
but-
else you know knows?
I don't
had
put
a
it on
client-
Facebook.
I had a client
Congratulations.
who came, I went to his house, gave him, I said, we just need to paint this lime green. Well, guess what? He found another Indian buyer and sold it himself. He left behind $30,000 on the table. Before he left, he called me, hey, can you get the carpet guy out? Now, he sold it himself. And I told him, you know, you left 30 on the table? He said, I know, I made a mistake. But do you think he's going to send me more business? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because I helped him out with the carpeting. He knows a ton of people here.
You I sell for the referral. I tell people,
Yeah.
I said, if I sell your house and I make this commission, that's enough to support me. But if you refer to me 5 people, that's a career. You know what I mean? So if you think less about that and being insulted that they didn't use you, and more about maintaining that relationship because they may refer to you, and that's where your career is made.
And the nice thing also with the for sale by owner, where are they gonna move? Can you be their buyer's agent?
Right.
Great, you can sell, I'll help you, advise you on sell this. What are you gonna buy? It doesn't cost you anything to use me as a buyer's agent.
Right.
And then if they like you and trust you already, boom, you know what? We tried it for a month, we liked you because your attitude, You weren't pushy, you weren't this, you weren't aggressive, you were very relaxed and saying, we are gonna list and we decided to list with you. Or, hey, we got a contract on our house and you're right, we do need to find one, can you help us find a house? Well, if you didn't list with me, I don't know, maybe.
Marcia, did you have something that you wanted to say a while ago?
I forgot.
Okay, never mind.
The thing that I made a mistake is I do Buffini, the cards. I gave you a whole bunch of cards, and I have tons of cards if you guys need it. That keeping in touch with people. This year, because of my illness, I lost 3 big transactions. I'm talking of $500,000 homes because I was too tired to pick up the phone. One, who's a very dear friend of mine, said to me, we want to list our house, and I thought, oh, he's old. Everybody tells me that. I should have followed up.
Yeah.
I heard that she said that she takes her kid with you. I think that's a great idea.
No, she's gotten me weeds.
As she should.
You know, yeah, exactly. Well, my goal is that, maybe she don't have to, maybe she'll just come
feed
to
her
her
and
and say,
everything.
yeah, right, exactly. But also, she has been my icebreaker too.
There you
So
go.
when I'm talking to, like, we done hunted people down on lawnmowers, like, there they are, perfect car, let's go. Like that, and we'll take it together. And that's the icebreaker, because then they can see that I'm a mother. They can see I'm out here doing this. And then I'll be like, well, this is my daughter. And then they'll be like, well, what school you going to? And then they'll...
It's harder to be rude to.
Yeah, and stuff, but, but you still got to wean them out
You
because...
also have to be careful about your security. So you ask them, when I come out to see you, will it be you or your significant other? Ask questions, especially women going out.
Absolutely, you're going to a stranger's house,
Stranger's
that's a little
house.
terrifying.
Be
Taking
cautious.
with you.
Right.
I would also, one thing that I made a gross mistake here early on in this gig, and it wasn't that long ago. I was visiting a neighbor of mine who I'd never met before, and he has a beautiful home out on a lot of property by where our farm is and where we're. And I was over just introducing myself, and he said, hey, just so you know, we're actually moving. I said, oh, you are, huh? Did you sell your home already? He said, no, we're doing a for sale by owner. And I was, really, would you consider listing it? And he said, no, I've got a friend that if I decide to list it, I will, but I just wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared for that conversation.
Right.
I didn't go over there looking, I just went over there to introduce myself and say hello. So I think, one of the things I learned in business before coming into real estate was have your 30-second commercial ready to go
Scripts.
at any point in
Scripts.
time. And this
Don't give
physical
up.
skip
Ready
is
to go,
one that I wish I would have had, because he sold it last week for $700,000. What a great,
Yeah,
that
hurts.
hurt.
That hurts, yeah.
And when he said I have a friend, I really appreciate that, you have a friend. You can't fire your friend if you're unhappy.
Just keep working it. That's
I'm
You
not-
have to have
I just wasn't
Keep
ready,
working
right? I
it.
went over somewhere, I wasn't anticipating a conversation like that, it moved to that, I didn't have, I hadn't.
But
Well,
he
you
has
know now.
But next time you will.
You know now.
It wasn't
You know
meant to
now.
be, it's okay, but it
Okay,
you
guys,
what?
I'm gonna get close to wrapping this up because we're about to run out of time. Any other questions for Nancy for self-owners? Okay, Nancy, what would you do differently? If you knew
I
then,
would
if you
do
know
I wish I had done my Buffini right
yeah.
from then.
now? Okay,
And I did join and left. And I would suggest coaching.
yeah.
Discipline, that's what, even now getting out of my illness, I'm getting ready to hire Crystal as my coach because I just need to get back focused.
She's good. I really like her.
I just need somebody to kick ass so I can get up in the morning and just get out there and do it.
There you
How much
go.
does she charge for that?
I don't know.
Charges
but-
$99 up front and then $200 out of your first 2 closings.
She's like a psychic.
Guys, real
She
quick,
knows
I
what
want
I need,
I
and
want to
she'll
share
know
with
what you
you,
need.
Stephanie brought in this agent machine and referral
Yeah.
exchange when she left here. So
Yeah.
it is called agentmachine.com is what you need to look up for this agent machine thing. Agentmachine.com.
Yeah, I'd like to get my postcards back if you guys don't know.
Wow, can I take a picture of your postcard?
Sure.
Also, next week is gonna be a neat week. Next week's on goal setting, time management, action plans.
Thanks.
I actually do a little show and tell, so don't miss that one. It's a lot of fun. I bring like supplies and stuff.
Is it again Tuesday?
Next Tuesday from 1 to 1.
And the referral stuff, the Buffini stuff, if you guys don't need it,
Like I have a couple of these.
I don't, I put it in a Popeye.
Oh, that's right, that's
This
a
is-
Popeye one.
Road
That's a
plate
Popeye
is-
one, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And
So
quickly,
we
guys,
do
I
it
know
every
we've
morning
missed a
for
couple
10
other
minutes.
people, but will you help me thank
Conversation.
those people for
you.
sharing this
Thank you.
information with us? And you have all these people's names now. All you
Yes.
gotta do is put their name at realtyexecutives.com and you'll be able to get to them. They are very generous in sharing with us, but they're also generous in sharing one-on-one if you have any questions, so feel free to call. If you wanna follow up on something?
The other thing I would recommend is, if you find a busy agent, ask for a refer, if you're uncomfortable with going on a listing appointment by yourself or a sale, team up with somebody that's in the business and say, hey, I'll give you a referral, I'll give you 50%, until you get the first couple under your belt, then you get more comfortable. But for the first ones, you're at 100% office, most of you are at 70-30. It's okay to give a little bit of that money away to somebody that's training you. I gave 50% and I thought it was a gift. So, the 50